Dragon Book for Kids, Diary of a Friendly Dragon, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. The dragons and humans hate each other, but not for long. Fafnir the dragon finds two innocent children who change his mindset, and everyone else's, about humans. They become best friends and team up against their greatest enemy, zombies. Listen to the friendship between a dragon and two kids, and the way they mend the two societies together by their playfulness and sincerity. Chapter 1. Fighting. The humans and dragons have been fighting for years. Ever since the first human being discovered our nests, we have been defending our offspring as hard as we could. But I wanted change. This couldn't go on for much longer, and I suspected a good side in the humans. My name is Fafnir. I am a green dragon, and I know how to spit fire. I live with other dragons in a big cave, where we have all kinds of dragons with dragon nests. It's a fun place if you're a dragon, but for humans, well, let's just say that until recently they didn't want to go there. So this is the story of how we united. You might have heard stories like this before, but I can assure you that this one is different. You see, I am a dragon. A dragon! I am telling you a story from a dragon's perspective. Where will you ever find a record like that? So you should count yourself lucky to have bumped into this diary, where you will find the truth, the real truth about what happened. The humans had stolen some of the fish in the sea, something we love to eat. And they had chased away the birds in the area, again, something we love to eat as well. So some of my dragon leaders were angry.
"Let's attack them,"
Groduk said, the main dragon leader in our group.
"They always steal our food or disturb the circle of life. Do these humans even know what they're doing to nature? They're insane."
Groduk had grown up to hate humans. His father had had a confrontation with one of them and had been injured. Now the enormous green dragon, Groduk, was out for revenge, and he wouldn't let any opportunity slip to attack these filthy creatures, or so he called them. Nobody contradicted him. I wasn't too pleased with it, since I rather avoided confrontations like that. Don't worry, I was brave. I was always the one who would blow fire at monsters and have air fights with evil creatures. I was definitely an aggressive, mean... Well, I had heart, let's put it that way. But the humans, I always sensed something better in them, so I never liked the raids Groduk organized. Nevertheless, I couldn't do anything against it. We went, and I accompanied the other dragons. I wasn't going to fight hard, but I was going to be observant in one way or another. That was my plan. We flew towards the city. It was a huge city. There were thousands of people, so in my eyes, the raid was going to be a failure anyway, but Groduk insisted. He led the way to the city. "Alarm!" a man from the city yelled when he saw us, the dragons, fly over their metropolis.
"Get them!"
Groduk shouted. Some of the dragons began spitting fireballs at the citizens. Others were landing on rooftops and fighting off humans with diamond swords, wooden swords, and golden pickaxes. It was chaos. I flew over the scene, hoping to find something different, keeping myself away from all the battle scenes to preserve my skin. I noticed how some dragons were burning houses, and others were destroying yards and crops outside the city walls. I wasn't sure of what I was looking for, but for some reason, I just kept flying. And then I saw it. This was what I had been looking for. This was the reason I was suspicious. Chapter 2. The Innocent Ones. I saw a boy and a girl. They were playing. It was an innocent thing to observe. The boy was trying to build a sandcastle, but the sand kept sliding away because it was too dry. The girl was raking the sand and putting it into buckets. I didn't estimate the kids to be much older than 8 or 9 years old, and the depiction of the sweet children melted my heart a little, probably because they looked so cute. The boy handed the girl a bucket full of sand, and the girl gave him a kiss on his cheek. When the girl didn't look, the boy wiped it off with his hand, but smiled nonetheless. I just kept staring at them since they were enjoying the simple things in life and had no clue what was going on around them in the city. Their backyard was somewhat secluded, and the walls protected them from the horrible happenings around them. Suddenly, this beautiful image was disturbed. As I sat there on the rooftop watching these two children, one of the dragons flew over them and noticed them. I wavered. The dragon went into a little circle and returned to the same spot, intending to injure these two kids. "No!" I yelled, but the dragon didn't listen, so I flew at him and punched him in the face. Boff! He fell backwards, crushing a rickety shed. He sniffed, he snorted, he huffed and puffed. He snuffled, well, you get it. There was a lot of air coming out of his nostrils, and in the meantime, while he recovered from his fall, I picked up the two children and took them away to a safer place. I didn't know where I was going. I just made sure I left the battle area. These children didn't have to get involved in all of that. I flew and flew, holding the children in my two claws, looking for a good place to land. After some time, I landed in the forest and put the kids down. "What are you doing?" the girl asked. "Why did you take us away from our home?" I understood the human language, but I couldn't speak it, not with the sounds coming out of my mouth. So I just stared at them, trying to look explanatory, which didn't really work. "Take us back," the girl commanded. I shook my head. "I am Novus," the boy said, "and this is Cilicia, my sister. What is your name?" Then I got an idea. I was just going to write in the sand. That way I could at least communicate some simple words to them. So I looked down, lifted my claw, and wrote, Fafnir. "I like that name," Cilicia said. "It's really nice." "Why did you take us here?" Novus asked. I wrote, "War." "What?" Novus said. "What war? What are you talking about? I didn't see anything." "Neither did I," Cilicia agreed. I wrote dragons versus humans in the sand, and they understood. "Ah," Novus said, "there have been more wars between dragons and humans, but we don't like them. Say, Fafnir, why haven't you heard us already? I mean, you're a dragon. Aren't we supposed to be enemies?" "No," was what I wrote in the sand. They looked puzzled, but they started to understand that not all dragons were so bad, and that humans and dragons could live in peace, if only they could become friends and forget about the past. Chapter 3. Friendship. The two kids in front of me were innocent. They were young, and they didn't care about the past. They had no bad intentions towards dragons, and I knew it. "Can we be friends?" Cilicia asked. I nodded. "Yay!" she exclaimed. "Come on, show us what you can do." I waved my claw to instruct them to step back. Then I breathed in and spat fire. The flame from my mouth incinerated a nearby tree, and the two kids jumped up and down with joy. "What else can you do?" Novus asked. I extended my claws and whacked off a branch from a tree. "Nice," he said. "I wish I was that strong. Could you carry that tree over there, the one on the ground?" I nodded and flew to the tree that had fallen over somehow. I picked it up and chucked it away. They clapped and cheered. This was the best show they had seen in a long time. "Would it be safe to ride on your back?" Cilicia asked. I'm afraid of heights," Novus said. I thought for a moment. I guessed it would be okay. They could hold on to my scales, and if they would fall off, I would be able to catch them in time. So I signaled for them to hop onto my back. "I can't wait," Cilicia said while running towards me and hopping onto my back. "Come on, Novus," she said. "Let's ride the dragon." "Sorry, Fafnir," he said. "It's too scary." "What if I went first and then let you go afterwards?" Cilicia suggested. "Okay," Novus said. "Then you can see that it's completely safe," she added. I took off. I flew high into the sky, and even went in circles a couple of times. "Whee!" Cilicia cheered happily. "This is amazing!" I flew around the trees and over the lake. Then I came back to the spot where Novus was standing. He was still standing there, but he looked more confident when he saw I brought his sister back in one piece. "See," she said. "It's absolute fun. You have to try it." Fine, he said. It's not that I was really scared. I just don't like heights. Sure, she said with a smile, a little skeptical, but still friendly. He hopped on and I flew up. I didn't go too fast at first, since I noticed that he was holding on for life. His face became pale. His eyes looked as if he was trying to take it all in without flinching, but then, suddenly, I saw a change. His facial expression was different. He had taken courage. He looked sharp and focused. That's how you do it, I thought. Good job, boy. I flew higher and descended quickly, giving him the stomach-turning effect that is always so much fun when you go down fast. I could tell that he was enjoying it, because he smiled. Then I landed. Wow, he said. What a ride! Can I go again? Celicia asked. Please, Fafnir, I want to go again. I nodded and allowed her on my back again. After a small period of time, it was his turn again. It continued this way all afternoon. At a certain moment, it dawned on me that I could have gone to the city to prevent the battle from happening, but it was too late anyway. It was too difficult. So I figured out another way to prevent future battles, by bringing these two children to the dragon cave. Would it work? I didn't know. And I was a little scared because I didn't want them to get hurt. But if I would stay with them, maybe I could make them see how friendly and harmless these humans could be. I crossed my fingers. My claws. Chapter 4. Convincing the Rest. After playing around and entertaining these two fantastic children for a while, I thought it was time to go home. I wrote on the ground with my claw, "Come with me." "Okay," they said without hesitating, which made me wonder where their parents were at. I also doubted if this was really the most responsible thing to do, but I did it anyway, promising myself that no harm would come to them. I picked them up and flew towards the dragon cave. Inconspicuously, I took the side entrance and hid them in my cave room. When I landed there, I put them down and wrote in the sand, "Stay here." "For how long?" Novus wanted to know. "Don't know," I wrote. Then I flew to the biggest cave room, the one where all the dragons usually gathered. Right after I came there, I saw the other dragons arrive, who had gone to the city. They were bragging about their accomplishments.
"I burned an entire home," one of the dragons said. "The people weren't in it, but now they have to build a new one. Ha ha ha!"
"Good work. I destroyed a building and I messed up the armory. You know, the place where they get their weapons."
"Excellent," Groduk said. "I knocked out a few of those annoying, filthy humans. They will be in the hospital for days. That will teach them to eat our fish and birds." After listening to their stupid stories, I stepped forward and said, "I became friends with two humans." They all stopped talking. "What?"
Groduk asked.
"What did you say?"
"I made friends," I said. "Those humans aren't so bad as you think." He came closer, almost as if he wanted to threaten me.
"I think I heard it wrong. Or actually, I hope I heard it wrong. Did you just say you became friends with the humans?"
"Yes, I did, and I'm proud of it," I said. "You know, perhaps if you were a little more open-minded, you would discover that they are just trying to live and eat themselves. They don't eat the fish and hunt for birds to pester us. They need those things to survive."
"How dare you!" Groduk yelled. "They are evil. They are the ones who injured my father. You cannot trust them. Never."
"Just because your father had a bad experience doesn't mean they are all bad," I said. One of the other dragons spoke up. "They fought back," he said. "Doesn't that prove anything?" "Just because we attacked them," I said. "If you don't do anything to them, they are inoffensive and happy. We can bring out the best by treating them as allies. Why wouldn't you want to try?"
"Bring us proof," Groduk said. "If you can prove that they can be innocent, which I highly doubt, then we will consider your little peace treaty. But until then, they are still enemies."
"Fine," I said. "Wait here." I expected that answer. I flew up, zigzagging through all the big cave tunnels and finding my own space. I landed next to Novus and Celicia and signaled them to climb on my back. They obeyed without questioning me, and once they were on my back, I flew down again. "Whee!" Cilicia shouted. "This is fun!" However, when I landed in front of 30 other dragons, they became a little scared. I let them get off my back and stand on the cave floor. The giant dragons were all looking at us. "You see," I said, "they don't do anything to us. They are kind and playful." The two children looked up to my fellow dragons with big eyes. They didn't understand the dragon language, so they just kept staring without saying anything. The others were dumbfounded. They hadn't even considered the fact that humans could befriend dragons. "And if you don't believe me," I said, "then here is more proof." I put my claws in the sand and wrote, "Pet me." "Okay," Novus and Cilicia said, and they began to rub my back a little. After a few seconds and an awkward silence, the kids became more trusting. They saw that the other dragons wouldn't hurt them as long as I was with them, so Cilicia asked, "Can I ride one of the other dragons as well?" I looked at her. She was having the time of her life. No fear, nothing. She was completely comfortable with the dragons. Novus was watching the big claws of one of them with a curious face, intrigued by the size and shape of them. "Well," I asked, "can she ride one of you?" And then, at that moment, the one dragon I expected the most resistance from stepped forward and said,
"Sure, she can ride on my back."
It was Grodok. I was a little hesitant to allow it because maybe he would just let her drop or have other bad intentions. But as I looked him in the eyes, I saw humility in him, which I had never seen before. I pointed to him, and Cilicia understood what I meant. She ran towards Grodok and tried to climb on his back, but he was too tall, so he helped her up. Then they took off. Novus saw what was happening and asked me the same question. One of the other dragons volunteered, and before I knew it, they were up in the air, flying around and entertaining the children. I had succeeded. The trust had been established. They knew now, something that I had known all along, that there was more to these humans. We bonded with them, and the whole cave turned into a fun, wholesome area, where Novus and Cilicia were competing against each other, trying to race on their dragons and playing around with them. Now there was one more thing to do: convince the other humans to have the same attitude. Chapter 5. Team Up. Convincing the humans was easier than I thought it would be. You see, humans and dragons typically never killed each other. They destroyed each other's possessions, they wrecked each other's homes, and they knocked each other out during their fights. But there were few, if any, fatalities on each side. Had there been any victims to lethal blows or assaults, then I think it would have been a lot harder for both parties to connect. But luckily, this wasn't the case.
"This is unbelievable," Grodok said. "All this time I've had a completely twisted image of these beings. Thank you for opening my eyes, Fafnir."
"You're welcome," I said.
"So what now?"
Grodok asked. "We take them back," I said. "Just like that, we'll show the humans that we won't harm their children and that we are not here to kill them, just like we have always stayed away from that line."
"And the broken things? And the damage?"
"Repair them," I said. "Show them that we are willing to change direction." One of the dragons came closer and said, "I have a better idea." That same evening, we flew to the city, all 30 of us, but we took a little detour. We had another way of showing our respect towards them, and our readiness to have a peace treaty. Before we entered the city, we went to the ocean. I was carrying Novus and Cilicia, who were thrilled to go on another joyride. They watched with me as the other dragons dove into the ocean, grabbed a bunch of fish, and came back up. Once they all had some fish in their claws, we continued to fly towards the city. Boff! We all landed on the ground on the city square. It wasn't very busy. Only a few people were on the streets. But when we arrived, they came a little closer, taking a peek at this strange phenomenon. The dragons laid out the fish in front of them, adding to the big pile that was being formed. When they were all done, there were probably around a few hundred fish there. Now the humans came even closer, and some of them called others to come forward. "Look at what these dragons gave us," a man shouted to his wife. "It's a pile of fish," a woman said happily. I put the two children down, and we watched the citizens of the city come. One by one, they slowly had the guts to approach us and take a fish home. Within 20 or 30 minutes, the city square was full of people. Each family took one big fish home, and eventually, Novus and Cilicia's parents arrived. "Kids!" the dad yelled. Their mother gave them a hug and cried a little. "Mom, Mom," Cilicia said, "the dragon gave us a piggyback ride, and we saw him spit fire, and we talked to him, and they got fish for the people, and—" Her mother stopped her by putting her finger on her mouth. The father came to me and said, "I don't know what is going on here, but I am happy that you brought us our son and daughter back." He held up his hand, and I agreed to shake his hand. Then the two children ran at me and gave me a hug. This was the moment that convinced everyone else. They saw two children hugging a dragon. What more evidence could there be? Everyone trusted us, and the dragons were mingling with the people. Some of them were petting the dragons, and others were taking more fish home. It was a good day. Chapter 6. The Real Enemy. Everything seemed fine. All the people and dragons were having a good time. But we didn't know about the real enemy, the one lurking beneath the shadows, waiting to devour and destroy. That changed, however, when someone came running into the city square and shouted, "Zombies! We've spotted zombies in the borderlands! They are coming to the city!" "How many?" one of the humans asked. "Hundreds of them! Thousands, maybe! How should I know? I am just the messenger. The spies are still there. They don't see any route to escape without being seen, so they are still hiding. They sent me here to warn you." The city mayor came as well. He took the lead when he heard what was going on.
"Thousands of zombies?" he said. "We aren't going to survive that. Even if we all defended the city, we would still lose a significant number of people. What are we going to do?"
It was quiet. Nobody knew what to say. Then suddenly, a boy came to the mayor. "Mr. Mayor," he began.
"Yes, what is it?"
"My name is Novus, and I have an idea," the boy said.
"Okay, let's hear it, young man," the mayor said.
"Perhaps if we can let the dragons know that we need their help, they can take care of the zombies for us."
"Ask the dragons for help?" the mayor asked. "That's preposterous. I've never heard of such a thing. Counselor?"
"Yes, Mr. Mayor," the counselor said, who came late. "What is going on?"
"This young boy tells us to ask the dragons for help. What do you think?"
Well, it wouldn't hurt, would it? After all, they are bigger and stronger than we are."
"But they destroyed our homes," the mayor protested.
"Mr. Mayor, I don't think we have a choice. It's quite a remarkable idea, if you don't mind me saying so."
"Oh, all right," the mayor said. "Let's ask the dragons. Do you speak the dragon language, Novus?"
"I know that at least one of them will understand me," he said. Then he came to me and asked me if we could help. I translated what he said and told the other dragons. Groduk agreed immediately.
"It's the least we can do,"
he said. I think that of all the dragons, his attitude changed the most. It was pretty amazing. And then we all left the city, on our way to war against the zombies. Chapter 7. Preparing for a Burning. "What are we going to do?" I asked Groduk.
"One of you will lure them to the forest on the east side. Those trees are very dry if you haven't noticed. Do you know what I mean?"
"Dry trees," I said. "Dry trees. Oh yes, that's an excellent idea. Let's do it. But who will lure them into the forest?"
"We will burn them. Ha ha!"
Groduk said, as he spat fire and leaned on a tower in the city. Groduk looked at me. "What? Me?" I tried to resist his stare, but then I finally said, "Okay, I'll go. Where will you be when I get there?"
"On the big rock overlooking the forest. Now go."
I left and flew into the direction the messenger had pointed out. I flew and flew, not seeing any zombies, which became rather boring after a while. Then I saw it. I wondered how I had missed them before, seeing that there was a big group with, indeed, thousands of zombies. "Wow," I said. I have never seen so many zombies in my life. Let's hope we can kill them all before they reach the city." I flew closer and landed in front of them. They moaned and bit with their mouths, gnashing and drooling. When they saw me, they started running, hoping to grab me. I quickly flew away, but I stayed low to the ground. I occasionally looked behind me, hoping they were still following me. They were. When I reached the forest, I signaled to the other dragons that the zombies had come. All the dragons flew down from the big rock and soared above the forest, and, according to plan, they spat fireballs at the trees. The zombies were all running in between the trees. It was a big barbecue, a zombie barbecue. The trees burned like crazy, and all the zombies in the forest were roasted, thousands of them, with the flames spreading like wildfire, incinerating every living thing in its way. "We did it, Fafnir, we did it!" some of the dragons shouted. We looked at the forest. Only one zombie came out alive. I signaled to Groduk, and he went after it.
"I'll get him,"
he shouted while flying after the zombie and spitting a fireball at the undead monster. "Let's let the city people know," I suggested. "We are done here." We flew back to the city, content with our achievement. When we arrived at the town square, we landed and saw the people gathering around us, looking curiously at what we had to report. Then I saw Celicia and Novus coming at me. "Are they dead?" Celicia asked. I nodded. "Are all the zombies really dead?" she asked again. I nodded again. "Wow, you're the best, Fafnir." As she said it, she came closer and gave me a kiss on my neck. What a sweet girl. Such good people. Never again would we fight amongst each other, and when there were more zombies in the country, the humans knew where to find us. The end.